Hey folks, Foggy here. Welcome to day 198 of my year of solo board gaming, considered by many to be ill-advised and stupid. For example, I got a big cup of coffee right in the middle of the game board. That's probably not a good idea. Actually, I'm going to put this. Think this is the area that I can put this and not have it interfere with the rest of the game. We are finishing up the Night of the Zealot, a Arkham Horror living card game. This is the introductory scenario. I have my trusty Roland Banks and trusty Wendy Adams here. Roland has taken quite a bit of physical trauma. In the last episode, he got spooked out of the game, so he's going to sustain a second horror trauma. If he were to sustain three more mental trauma, he would actually be out of the game completely. We'd have to actually replace him with another player. However, that is not the case here. Now, because we were only able to catch 3 of the cultists, there are 2 other things that are going to happen. One is we're going to put 2 of these Doom tokens out, which is not good. And we're going to start with 2 fewer cards available. So I'm going to deal out a deck of cards for Roland here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knife, manual dexterity. Fortunately, I get to get rid of the weakness and put it on the bottom, and then there's another knife. So then we're going to shake this again, or shuffle this again, not shake this again. Here, there we go, I shook it again. Got the shaking out of the way. And this is our opening hand, and we have to get rid of 2 of these. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of knife. And I think I'm going to get rid of, I guess, manual dexterity. I feel like that's the better way to go. I feel like this is actually a really good one to have for reasons I want to get into. I did play this a little bit earlier. I kept making some rule errors. The biggest thing I seem to be having a problem with is the idea behind engaging a monster and fighting a monster. And I say that because I looked at the fighting a monster, and it feels like in the thing, it's not clear if the monster can fight you if you're not engaged with it. And I think that is the big thing that I'm struggling with. I'm going to make the assumption that they will not fight you if you're not engaged with them. You can fight them without engaging them, but if you fight them, then you engage them as a result. There is an engage action, which I think is done so that you can, if I come here and Wendy's engaged with a fighter, I can't fight them until I engage with them first. So I have to pull their attention over this way. I could be getting that completely wrong. It is something that I really need a good explanation for. And before we start the next adventure, I will go through and I will try to get a better explanation of that. I have been shuffling this for a while, so let's go out and deal 5 cards. And no weaknesses. All right. So I'm going to put this down here. Actually, I'm going to do it like this for both of these. And there we go. Discard. And what do I want to get rid of? Leo DeLuca is helpful. Leo DeLuca is an ally that you can play and basically allows you to take an extra action each turn, but it's very expensive. I kind of like pickpocketing because it helps get additional cards. I kind of really want this cunning distraction one. This is an event that basically allows you to evade everybody. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the leather coat and pickpocketing. The leather coat would be nice. It'd be nice to get that extra 2. But I think it's better to have Leo present. And in fact, I might do that as my first move. We're going to give each of these folks 5 resources. And now I'm going to read in a very creepy manner the intro to this particular scenario. All right. Part 3, The Devourer Below. After a frantic nighttime search throughout Arkham, you have tracked down and questioned several members of the cult. Your findings are disturbing. They claim to worship a being known as Urmordoth, a monstrous entry from another realm. Not an elm. It doesn't come from an elm tree. That would just be crazy. You are able to confirm much of Lita's story. The cult is agitated over the destruction of a ghoul lair. However, a surprising detail also turns up. The one who invaded the lair and set this night's event in motion was none other than Lita Chandler herself. You're not sure why this important detail was omitted from Lita's story. Did she tell you only as much as was necessary to draw you into her conflict? But in another light, she seems to be fighting to protect the city of Arkham from a terrible menace. The final piece of the puzzle was found written in a journal possessed by one of the cultists. It describes a dark ritual to be performed deep within the woods south of Arkham this very night. According to the journal, the ritual's completion will open a gate and bring forth the cult's dark master into this world. If the cult is not stopped, Lita warns, there is a possibility that Umardot's vengeance will consume all in its path. Frightened but determined to stop the ritual, you head into the woods. All right, so we've set aside a ritual site and Umardot for reasons that you will see later. This is the main path. We could resign at any point when we're on the main path. We can just say, we're out, we're done. And then we have some random Arkham Woods here. There are a total of 6 in the game. You only take 4 of them, so there are 2 locations that are set aside. Now, when I played this before, I was really bummed because I was actually able to get a perfect start to it. And you'll see maybe some of this as it comes up. I'm just reading through the play action here in the rules reference. Just trying to clear something up for myself. All right, so let's get started here. I'm gonna make Roland the lead investigator because we had Wendy as the lead last time. Roland's big problem is that he does already have 2 horror and he's only got 3 horror left. So if there's any way for him to heal, it would be appreciated. But we're going to start off. We skipped the Mythos round because it is the first round. We also added a special token to the bag this time around. There's a special weird receptacle-based token. It looks like a rebreather or something, or like a squid, or like calamari. That's the calamari one, and the calamari one is pretty nasty. Basically, if there's already an ancient one enemy in play, and that basically means Uma, whatever we're calling him, then that means that you have to draw another token. So, and it's already -5. So pretty much you're losing at that point, and you're going to lose some more. First thing that we're going to do, though, is we are going to send Roland. I'm going to send him to the back of the woods. He's going to go to the very last one. All right. Forced. When you move out of this location, test book 3. If you fail, cancel the effects of the move. So we're first going to add some tokens. It's going to be 2 tokens total. It's got a spookiness level of 3, which is okay. He's got a book of 3, so he might be able to get out of this somewhat okay. I don't have a knife, unfortunately. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try investigating and hope for the best. Pretty much I need a 0 or better, or the star, or the skull. The skull right now, because skull is basically the negative amount of monsters. That should be pretty easy to work with. And 0. All right, so I get 1 clue. What we're looking for, by the way, are 6 clues total to advance the act. Once we get 6 clues, we can advance the act, even if we're at the end of the turn. And that's what happened last time, is that I got a perfect 4 clues in the first round, and then 2 more clues in the second round. So it was nice. Skull, which, as I mentioned before, because there are no monsters out, isn't 0. So he gets both of these clues. He has cleared out that particular spot. And he's going to let Wendy go. Wendy's going to go. She's going to cover the first location. She's going to start right here. Now, something I did not pay attention to last time is that the little symbols at the bottom here, this means that this can go to the green diamond or the gray tilted equal sign or back to the main path. And that's something I do want to try to make sure I pay attention to, unlike last time. So, for example, he can come over here to this woods. This location is investigated using fists instead of the skill indicated on the investigation attempt. Well, that's garbage. She's going to be horrible at that. So instead, I'm going to have her draw a resource as her second action. And then as her third action, she's going to play Leo DeLuca for all the marbles in the world. And what that does is allows her to get an extra turn. Now, the other thing is that I'd really like to get the 41 Derringer out, so I could either draw a card or get more resources. I have a feeling it's going to be resource heavy for her. So as a fourth action that I now have, thanks to Leo, I'm going to go ahead and draw another resource. All right, so that is the end of our action. There are no monsters out, so there's no enemy actions to take, and each of these players will draw a card. Paranoia, discard all your resources. Well, good. Nice to see that we got that out of the way nice and quickly. We'll leave one there for the resource that I would get. Drawing the resource. Let's see. Lucky. That's good. We'll get one more resource. This is fast. Play when you would fail a skill test. Get +2 for the skill value. Draw one card. Her upgrade, by the way, I did not upgrade anything with Roland, so he's still got 4 points that he could use if we were planning on playing another adventure. I put hers entirely into emergency caches. She upgraded both of hers to much better emergency caches. I'll just say that. And you'll see that in a bit. The one I like the most is the one that allows you to basically recharge a weapon. And that's going to come in really handy, I think. But that is the end of the Upkeep phase, so now we go to the Mythos phase. We're going to add a Doom token. There are still only 3, so we're good. We don't have to worry about that. And, oh, geesh. Screaming Byakhee. I hate these. Prey, lowest remaining sanity. Well, that will be Roland Byakhee. Hunter, while engaged with an investigation with remaining sanity 4 or fewer, Screeching Byakhee gets +1 fight and +1 evade. So I believe the way that it works is that because it has prey on it, there's something specific about this. And I apologize. I know that I keep having to look things up here. There is a lot to remember with this, and I feel like just plan on making errors. You're going to make errors, and it's a spawn. Yeah, it appears engaged with the fighter who drew the person who drew the card. So in this case, this is Roland, so it is engaged with him. This is going to be tough to kill, to say the least. And then I've got, what do I got here? Ghoul Minion. That's going to engage with Windy, and that is going to be pretty nasty. So I'm going to need some help with that. All right, that is the end of the Mythos phase. Now I get to do some actions. I think Roland's first action is going to be to play his knife. This will give him +1 for the attack. So his attack is now 5. And I don't think there's anything I can do with the other 2 cards. Now I can discard the knife. That'll give me some extra damage, but I think this is rough because this monster is going to rock my horror levels. This could end for Roland right here. This is bad. So I think we gotta try. So right now it is +1, so it's gonna be 4 to fight, and I've got 5 to fight, and I do 1 damage, which is frustrating. So even if I were to fight and then discard, I still wouldn't get rid of all his hit points, so he will attack on the next round. There's nothing I can do about that. 0, so at least I do 1 damage to him. I can withstand 1 hit. I can't withstand 2 hits. -2, so I take 1 hit. And I think when you fail an attack, the monster gets, and this is not really covered that well, and so that's why it's yet again another thing to go back into and read in the rule book. Okay, never mind. I was misreading something. I do not have to worry about that. So he tried to fight, wasn't able to, and there's not much else he can do. So I've still got the Ghoul Minion here. And I think for Windy, she's going to have to get a resource, play the Derringer. This is going to use 3 ammo. And now she's going to get +2 to fight. So the ghoul itself is 2, and so this is going to give her +3. Oh, sorry, 3-2. It is 3-2. Skull. There are 2 monsters out, so right now I would fail by 1 because now it's going to be 3-2. This takes 2 away from me, so it is. I think that's the total number of monsters in play. And so as a result, she would lose by 1. I cannot play fast. I should have taken 1 extra turn to make sure I had a resource. I'm going to mulligan here and say that I did. So that was 2 to get resources, 1 for the Derringer. We did spend 1 off that, so we could play lucky if we needed to. I know, I'm a horrible cheat. I'm a horrible, horrible cheat. But now I can play this by sacrificing that resource. This would give me +2, so now I'm up by 1. I do get to draw a card as part of this and succeed in the test. It does 1 damage. So unfortunately, I still have 1 more action to take because I did 2 for resources, 1 for the 1 for the attack, and since Leo's with me, I get 1 additional attack. So I'll use another resource. These resources are going quick. So it is 3-2. Star, so it doesn't. It's +0. If Windy's Amulet were in effect, I would automatically succeed no matter what. That's a good thing to remember about the star. The ghoul minion takes its 2nd damage, so it is defeated. And unfortunately, that was my entire turn. I think this is what got me last time, was that I felt like I stopped being able to investigate really quickly. Like, I was on fire, and then suddenly it was just like, nope, forget it. You're done. Monster is going to attack. It's going to cause 2 horror to Roland, who cannot survive another round with this monster on him. And 1 health, the least of his concerns. He's going to get a resource and draw a card. Flashlight, that's going to help him investigate. Card, Survival Instinct, and then a resource. We're now going to go to the the Mythos phase. We're going to bring out the next level of the agenda, so that's not good. Throughout the woods, a shrieking cry echoes. From somewhere deeper in the forest, a score of hideous voices answer the call, inhuman as the baying of hounds, and yet articulate, repeating a single name. Umradoth, Umradoth, Umradoth. All right, and so we have to shuffle all of this back in, the 1 card. And then we are going to spawn cards until a monster enemy comes out and place a doom token on him. So not that, not that, not that, not that. Acolyte. Oh, good, because that's going to be a 2nd doom token then. So he's got 2 doom tokens. And I think the rest of these just get discarded. All right. And now we start the next part of the agenda. The ritual begins. Umradoth, Umradoth, Umradoth. The chanting builds in intensity, echoing into the cold air of the night. The sparse clouds in the sky coalesce above the Arkham woods, blotting out the faint light of the stars. Each enemy now gets +1 to fight and +1 to evade, which makes the monster that he's fighting even tougher. The Screaming Byaki is now a 5 instead of a 3, because he also has the +1 because of the sanity issue. So now it's even Steven. And so Roland is kind of in trouble here. Roland is going to fight. He's just going to fight normally. Try to go even Steven here. All right, -1, and unfortunately that misses. I really don't have anything else I can do. And if I don't defeat this monster, I'm dead. Like, there's nothing else I can do about this. Nothing I have is going to help me out here. -1, I'm dead. Even if I discarded the knife at this point, it wouldn't do enough damage to do it. I might as well. I might as well discard it. This little spider wants to have a word with me about my gameplay. Jesus. I think that was rather emphatic. Unfortunately, that's it. I can't do anything else with him. I I guess I can have... She can get to the woods. I think that's the only thing that she can do. She's going to have to spend 1 to get here. She's got a horrible fight here. She's going to spend this 1 bullet, and that's it. Like, that's all she can do. And then try to shoot him. And if she misses, Roland takes the damage. That's the other thing to keep in mind. So she's going to get +2. That puts her at 3. He's at 4. Since this is not somebody who is... Yeah, this is just horrible. -1. So -1 means that she misses. So she's out of ammo. She's automatically... I think that means... I think as her third action, she has to engage with this guy. Because she can take the damage. He can't. Yeah, and I should have engaged before fighting, because that did... It is if engaged with an investigator with remaining sanity 4 or fewer. So by engaging with this animal, with this monster... So for now, I'm going to stay engaged and just go ahead and take the damage. I think I'm just going to take a resource. Those are my 4 actions. This is not good. The monster is going to strike. The acolyte over here is not going to do anything. But she's going to take 2 damage +1. She's not going to pass it off to Leo because it's more important for her to hold on to these. She wants to keep Leo safe there. So then that's it for the monsters. Now we do the upkeep. Each of these folks are going to take 1 resource, 1 deduction. She's going to get knife and 1 of these. And the reason I'm not discarding this is because this can be refilled. So now we go on to the next part of the mythos. That's going to get a doom token. We're currently at 3 because of the acolyte. So that's 5 total, and now we're going to draw a card for Roland. Ghoul Minion. And Ghoul Minion. All right, so now it's starting to look like just a joke. This is ridiculous. All right, so... I have nothing I can really do. One thing I'm not too sure of is if you can just fight. Like, if you need an actual card to fight. Like, can I just fight, like, 4 on 2, and it's actually a 3 now, and just do 1 damage? And that's something that's not clear as well. Whether I need to play a card to fight. So I guess I'll draw a card first. Maybe that'll give me something to work with. This is a trigger. After research library enters play, search your deck for a tome asset and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. That doesn't strike me as particularly helpful. I guess I'll just try fighting. I guess there's nothing that really stops me from doing that. I think it would say otherwise, but just fight. And this will just be a 3 on 2. Sorry, 4 on 3. Skull, so that is -3, so that fails. And by the way, if I can't deal with this monster, Roland is again dead. +1 actually did some damage. Holy cow. And unfortunately, that's it. That's all I can really do. Probably should have just fought this thing to start off with. She's going to play her knife. She gets +1 for the attack, which puts her at 2. She can discard it. I think she's going to take a swing at... There is nothing that she can do, is there? She's got 2. She can try to take on this minion so he doesn't die. Even though she's engaged with 2 others. But I need a +1 because she's only got... This is just a joke. This is what happened in the other game that I recorded. I just started to feel like there was a certain futility with playing this. Like, I don't know how I would have prevented getting to the situation. 0, so she misses. So she's going to do this again. -3. She's going to do it again. -4, actually. There are 4 monsters in play. -2. I mean, seriously, this is just insane. Automatic failure. Okay, so she swings with the knife 4 times, which is, I think, 1 more time than I was supposed to. And she just fails, just completely fails. And at that point, so now we're going to go into the monster phase. She's going to take 3 horror and 2 health, and that's going to put her at a really bad situation. So we're just going to give her one of these. 2 health. Roland is dead. He was too frightened by this. He gets 1 body, 1 horror. But it's too much for him to take. He's just left a gibbering pile of meh. And so I think this means that the ghoul is now at the location still with 1 damage. But again, this is neither here nor there. Another little bug. Sorry about that. I don't know what... I think the clues go back to the location. I'm not having fun. No, I hate to say this, but I feel like the first 2 adventures are fun. This one just feels like impossible. All right, so we've done everything that we need to do there. Now we're going to go on to the Mythos phase. We're going to add 1 here. Wendy's going to be the only one that draws anything. She gets a Ravenous Ghoul. So it's pretty much now 3 on 1, and she has no combat strength. They're all elite, non-elite monsters. So at this point... Oh, and I forgot to give her a card and a resource. So she's got Backstab, which would be helpful, because I think that would allow her to take out the Screaming Byakhee. It would use Flight. Oh, I have to be careful about hands. I think, because you can have 2 different hands items. Obviously, you can't have 3 because you don't have 3 hands. And this is specific about being +1, so I don't think this and this work together. So on this fight, which doesn't make sense, because what are you going to backstab with? You're going to backstab with a knife. So I can backstab, and that would give me 5, which would be enough to take out, because it's +2 damage. That would be enough to take out the Screaming Banshee. I'm going to start with that. Maybe I can get somewhere with this. I took 2 cards out. 2 tokens out by random. So it is 5. She has now got 4 or fewer sanity. So he's actually got 5 as well. Star, which is a 0. That allows me to kill, because this was +3, or +2 damage. So it's 3 total, and the Screaming Banshee is dead. That's 1 action. Roland should not be here anymore. She can now try to stab one of the other ones. This is a ridiculous amount of people. So I can try to stab the ghoul twice. It would be even Steven. 2 on 2, except he's got +1, so it'd actually be 3 to 2. I would have to throw the knife. I may as well throw the knife and just try to see if I can get that. Because if I do that, that will kill the minion. -1. So what did I say? He was at 3, I was at 3. I'm going to have to discard a card and draw a different token. +1, there we go. So the knife is now discarded, but the ghoul minion is dead. I'm going to gain a resource. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I'm going to fight one more time at this point. Actually, I should just try to evade. It's a 4 on 4 evasion. I don't have enough strength to move. That's the problem. So even Steven, 0. All right, that is success. I have now evaded that. So now this is where I always have some confusion about what evasion actually means. I'm not engaged with them, so I don't think that they fight me this time around. I'm basically hiding. So they're not going to attack. And even with prey, because I don't think it's a hunter. Yeah, it's not a hunter, so it's not going to come after me. This is just simply going to tell me where it's going to go, and right now it's going to stay here because I've got the lowest health. The Acolyte is not going to move, and we're going to go on to the Mythos phase. And at this point, we've got +2 here, and that's going to add one more, and this is where you get to see why this is just ridiculously silly. Oh, I flipped that by accident. All right, so the backside of this. A dark presence approaches and you are assaulted by invisible pressures that bring you to your knees. A terrible force threatens to invade your mind and soul. The throat clenches and your eyes water as the sensation burns through you. In player order, each investigator must test 6. There's no point. Each investigator who fails must search the collection for a random basic madness weakness and add it to his or her hand. So we are going to still pull because the negative effect of one of these could still have an effect on the game. But right now, I've got a 4. I have no way to boost it. I mean, what am I going to do? I could play this one card here that's going to give me a 6 total. And would allow me to actually skip this, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Might as well. We're going to lose the game anyway, so there we go. We're playing this event to add on. It's -1, we still lose. Okay, that's good. I'm glad I wasted the card. So I've already pulled out the basic weaknesses here. We're going to shuffle these up and give one to Wendy. She gets chronophobia. Oh, good. At the end of your turn, take 1 direct horror. Okay. And she can spend 2 turns to get rid of it. Vengeance awaits. The world begins to shift and charge as the ritual changes. The ritual nears its conclusion. The air grows chilly, and the entire forest is covered in a layer of rime. The trees bend unnaturally, and the shadows lengthen into weird shape. All right. That's it. We're still basically on Act 1, by the way. We've done nothing. She can... Oh, I forgot to give her a resource and a card. So there we go. Okay, so investigating here would be regular 3 on 3, so I may as well do that. I'm going to spend 2 actions just to get rid of this. It's a skull, so that is not going to work because I've got 3 here. I'm going to try to leave, which means I have to check against 3 again. I'm going to commit this to it, so I have +1. -2. I fail. Okay, so I'm stuck there. Monsters are going to skip. We're going to add 1 more here. Oh, and I have to give her a card and a resource. Madness, choose all but one discard, and discard all but one card from your hand. Okay. Fortunately, that doesn't actually really affect this one. I don't know what to do. Like, I know what's coming in Act 2, and so there's just, I feel like at this point, I may as well just resign. I don't think there's anything else I can do, so we're going to try to get over there. Oh, good. -5. So that is a fail. I'm just simply trying to, it's a 3 even match here, and I've got 3 more turns to do it. -2. -1. -2, put 1 Doom token on the nearest enemy. Awesome. Well, guess what, folks? We go to the Mythos. I mean, I can do this part. She gets a Switchblade. Woohoo. So we're now going to add 1 more Doom token here. The Devourer below. Replace the current act and agenda with the Devourer below. This card is both the current act and current agenda. So this goes away. The Devourer has been called forth. Hunter, massive. Umordeth gets +4 health per investigator. Forced, at the end of each investigator's turn, ready Umordeth. If you control Lita Chandler, it's only after her you throw Lita to Umordeth in order to spare your lives. This thing is going to do 3 + 3 damage, so pretty much it's just going to come out and spawn in Lita's area, or Wendy's area. And so I can try to do some damage to her, but it's got 5. The pluses are no longer a worry, but I'm still trying to. I've got a 1. So at this point, I'm just going to roll over. I really don't understand what I can do here. I've got nothing that I can do. So I think I can try to have her evade. It's 4 on 6, and I can use these 2 to even up the odds. So now it's 6 on 6 to try to evade. Nope, that failed. So now it's 4 on 6, and I have no way to boost it, so I'm going to have to draw a card. Boost. -1, that's going to fail. Actually, I'm going to play that instead. Again, I think you'll agree, I'm pretty much losing here. Spend 1 resource. I can't do anything. Like, there's no way to get enough resources for me to be able to evade unless I have a +1. So, and I already drew that, so she fails again. She gets 3 and 3 damage. That's enough to kill her. It causes her trauma, so she loses. So, that's it. All right. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. Too frightened to face her fate, Lita flees into the night. She realizes she has failed, and Umordeth's vengeance will pursue her wherever she goes. The creature's tendrils spread throughout the city of Arkham, searching for her. It lurks in the darkness of every corner, tugging at the seams of reality. But Lita is nowhere to be found, so the creature dwells in the shadow to this day, searching, killing. In your campaign log, record that Arkham succumbed to Umordeth's terrible vengeance. Each surviving investigator is killed. The investigators lose. So R.I.P. Wendy. R.I.P. R.I.P. Roland. Yeah, so I like this game, but this one scenario it just feels to me brutal. It is really contingent on doing well in the previous adventure. And if you don't do well in the previous adventure, I feel like you're so behind the 8 ball to start off with. What with losing 2 resources and having the 2 Doom tokens. And then if you look at the distribution of the encounter deck, and this is really where I think this becomes a problem. Let's go ahead and put that in. The Ghoul Minion was 1, and the... All right. this Acolyte was one. All right, so at the beginning you're told what decks to include. And the problem is that if you count, there's one in here, basically you're choosing out of 4 different sets of Acolytes. And I think they're all monsters, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference, but I'm going to just quickly go monster, 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 not monster. And if it's not a monster, it's a test. And the tests are obviously negative, but if you're not lucky enough to get the tests, yeah, maybe I just got really unlucky here, because my point was I felt like it was way too many monsters in turns. But if you look at this, so apparently I just was unlucky. I was just unlucky, because that's it. I mean, that is, I don't even think you can see the difference from the way I'm holding them. The left-hand side there are the number of treacheries that were in the deck. The right-hand side are the number of monsters. So each turn you have, I think, like a 2-to-1 chance of pulling a treachery, and the treacheries are not great, but they're also you can deal with them. And the monsters are just difficult to deal with once they start piling up. Once you have an Acolyte out, once you have a Ghoul out, and we went through the deck agenda a lot faster as a result, because we had that Acolyte with the 2 Doom on him to start, and we had 2 Doom from the start. So normally this would be like 14 Doom to get to the point where the Devourer comes out. But we skipped over 6 of those turns. 2 for the Acolyte twice, and then 2 for the beginning of the game. So it went quickly, too many monsters out at the beginning. Yeah, I know this seems like complaining. And the thing is, all of the Arkham games are like this. They're all swingy. They're all meant to be swingy and horror-filled, and like, be careful, because the luck is not with you. And definitely this token bag. And we're playing on easy, and I think that's the embarrassing thing, is I lost on easy. You've always got the star and the star and the failure one, but even that, like, these do not get, the star does not guarantee success. Wendy has to have her amulet out for the star to guarantee success, and this is automatically failure. And if Roland's at a place that has no clues, or Wendy's just get this without the amulet, it's not really adding anything. It's not subtracting anything, but it's not adding anything. So then you look at, what else can you do here? And you got some +1s, so those will help. You got 0s. That'll be nice if it's even Steven. So if you're even Steven, then out of all of these tokens, those are the 6 that can come up. These can come up if there are no monsters out, which is obviously not going to stay that way for long. The -1s are definitely not going to help. The -2s are not going to help. But already, like, this amount here is more than this amount here. Or this is equal to this amount here. And then you add in the Cult token, the Stone Croissant token, and the Squid token, and the Failure token, and it's definitely working against you. And so, I like the game. I really do. I've got a lot more of this to play, but I will say this particular scenario left me really sour. I'd be interested to play with 2 other characters, see, especially like later characters, to see how they do. But man, this was rough. And I don't think that it was a matter of gameplay. I think it was a matter, like, I don't think that there was anything I did gameplay wise that really suggested I did something wrong. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. Feel free to let me know in the comments about what I could have done better to fix things. But unfortunately, I've lost Wendy and I've lost Roland. They're both dead. I could rip them both up right now, and that would be completely valid according to the game. I'm not going to do that, because that would be silly. They'll come back in I'll resurrect them or something. I don't know. But that's it for Arkham Horror card game. Please join me tomorrow when we'll be doing, I think, most likely more Arkham Horror card game. But I've got to put all this stuff back and then generate 2 new characters. R.I.P. Wendy, R.I.P. Roland. And may you find better luck with other players. Until tomorrow, ciao, everybody.